Hi students, welcome to my channel Easy Learning. So today I'll be dealing with the lesson control and coordination. So this is also a life process. Okay, so previous all the chapters video it has been uploaded in my channel and the link is given in the description box. Okay, so now we will see this regarding control and coordination. So first we will see what is the definition of control and coordination. Control and coordination means it is the working together of various organs in the body of an organism so as to coordinate in a systematic manner and respond to the particular stimulus. Control and coordination, it is the working together of various organs in an organism in a systematic manner so as to give proper response to the stimulus. That is known as control and coordination. So what is meant by stimulus? Stimulus means the change which takes place in the environment according to that how the organism is responding. For example, if we are touching a hot object, then we are just removing our hand back. So their heat is the stimulus. Another example for stimulus is that for bright light, we blink our eyes. So their light is the stimulus. So what is the response? We are blinking our eyes. So I hope you have understood the meaning of what is stimulus and the definition of control and coordination. Now we will see how this control and coordination takes place in plants and animals. First we will see how it takes place in plants. So in the case of plants, just like human beings, they don't have nervous system. So, but whereas in the case of human beings, they have nervous system and also the hormonal system is there. But here in plants, with the help of the hormones only, all the control and coordination process takes place in plants. Okay, so here regarding the hormones, that is a very important question for board exam. That is, what term for plant hormones? The hormones of the plant, it is known as phytohormones. The hormones of the plant, it is known as the phytohormones. So, what are the different phytohormones or plant hormones? The first one it is the auxin. Second one it is the gibberellin. Third one it is the cytokinin. And fourth one is the abscisic acid. So, these are the four main plant hormones which is responsible for the control and coordination in plants. It is very important. You should know the terms, you should know the names of the plant hormones and also the characteristic features of each hormones. Auxin hormone is responsible for growth. Gibberellin, it is also for fruit growth and the cell differentiation. Cytokinin also for fruit growth and then the breaking up of the dormancy. But whereas abscisic acid is an inhibitory hormone. That is, it prevents the growth. It promotes dormancy. Okay. So, dormancy means the particular state where the seeds are in a dormant, at a rest state. If the seeds are in a rest state, then we call it as a dormant state. So, it promotes dormancy. So, the abscisic acid is a hormone which inhibits the growth. Okay. So, you should know the characteristic features and also all the names of the plant hormones. So, among this, I have told that auxin is the responsible. That is, auxin is one of the most important hormone responsible for the plant growth. So, here, there again one more question arises for the exam, that is regarding how the auxin hormone result in the bending of the plant towards sunlight. Okay, so here when a plant is growing under sunlight, then the auxin hormone, that is the auxin hormone will be present at the tip of the stem. The auxin hormone will be present at the tip of the stem. So, when the sunlight is falling directly on the plant, then the auxin hormone will be present throughout it will be distributed throughout the plant so that it grows straight. But if the sunlight is from the right side, then the auxin hormone will be present on the left side of the plant. It will be present on the left side of the plant. So what happens? The right side, the auxin hormone will not be there. So since it is a growth hormone, so the left side of the plant, it grows faster and then the plant bend towards the light. That is how the plants bend towards the light. So this part, left part, it grows much faster than the right side. So it bends towards the light. That is how the plant, it bends towards sunlight with the help of the auxin hormone. So I hope you have understood regarding this, regarding the plant hormones. It is important. Always the question comes, you have to focus more on this part. Okay. Next we will move on. To the topic tropism. So tropism is the growth movement of the plant part in response to the external stimulus, and also the movement of that particular plant, it will be towards the direction of the stimulus. So we can tell that it is a directional movement because tropism. So here what is meant by tropism? Tropism means it is a growth movement by which the plants move towards the external stimulus. So it is a growth movement, and also it is known as the directional movements. That is, the movement of the plant part, it will be towards the stimulus. So it is a directional movement. Regarding the types of tropism. Types of tropism. So there are 5 common stimuli in the environment. So based on this, there are 5 types of tropism. So here the plant part in response to light, it is known as phototropism. The plant part in response to light, it is known as phototropism. The plant part, the movement of the plant part in response to gravity, it is known as geotropism. The movement of the plant part in response to water, it is known as hydrotropism. The response of the plant part in the movement of the plant part in response to chemical substance, it is known as chemotropism. And the movement of the plant part in response to touch, it is known as sigmotropism. So total 5 types of tropism is there. Phototropism, the stimulus is light. Geotropism, the stimulus is gravity. Hydrotropism, the stimulus is water. The chemotropism, the stimulus is chemical substance. And sigmotropism, the stimulus is the touch. So there are total 5 tropisms. So based on all these tropisms, there are different experiments and activities that you have to go through. So among that, one I have told regarding the activity of the auxin hormone, that is how the plant, it bent towards light. Okay, so this is very important. Always the question comes for give reason type, 2 mark question. So here remaining other all the tropisms, the activities you have to go through, but you should know regarding the definition, what is the stimulus, what are the different types of tropism. Along with the tropism, there is also one movement in the plants, that is, which is responding to the stimulus, but it is not a directional movement. So it is known as nasties. So one more movement of plant part in response to external stimulus, but it is not towards the direction of the stimulus. So it is not a directional movement. That is known as nasties. So here the 2 examples given here for nasties. One, it is the folding of the leaf of touch me not plant. That is one example. And the other one, it is the opening and closing of the dandelion flower and the moonflower. So these are the 2 examples under nasties. So nasties means the movement of the plant part in response to external stimulus, but it is not a directional movement, because the movement does not take place towards the direction of the stimulus. So it is not a directional movement, nasties. So simple example it is regarding the folding up of the leaf of the touch-me-not plant. The scientific name of touch-me-not plant is Mimosa pudica. And another one more example it is regarding the opening and the closing of the dandelion and moonflower. So these are the two examples for nasties. So here under nasties, one question comes regarding based on the touch-me-not plant. That is how the water gets lost in the or how the folding up of the leaf takes place in the Mimosa pudica. Actually, when we touch the plant, then an electrical impulse is generated. So that electrical impulse is passed on to the plant hormone. Since they don't have nervous system, it will act on the plant hormone. So that plant hormone, it activates and it makes the plant, that is, it makes the plant to remove the water which is present in the pulvinus. This part of the leaf, it is known as the pulvinus. So, regarding that, the water is lost from one side of the pulvinus to the intercellular spaces of the other side of the pulvinus. How does it happen? When we are touching the leaf, an electrical impulse is created or generated and it acts on the plant hormones, and the plant hormones makes the loss of water from the pulvinus to the intercellular spaces of the other side of the pulvinus. That is how it results in the drooping of the leaf or folding of the leaf of the Mimosa pudica plant. Okay, but it regains its water loss after a time period of 15 to 30 minutes. Then again we can see that the touch-me-not plant leaf is again, it is being in a normal state. How control and coordination takes place in animals. So, the control and coordination process, it takes place in animals with the help of two systems, that is the nervous system and the endocrine system. Okay, with the help of the nervous system and the endocrine system. So, by the help of nervous system and endocrine system, the control and coordination takes place in plants. All the organisms, they have got the sense organ. That is a simple example, human beings. We got 5 sense organs, isn't it? So, this sense organs has a cells or a group of cells which is present in the sense organs. They are known as receptors. So, the sense organs, the cells which is present in the sense organs, it is known as what? The receptors. So, these receptors are sensitive to certain stimulus. So, here there are 5 types of receptors. One, it is the receptors which is sensitive to light. It is known as photoreceptor. Then, the receptor which is sensitive to sound. It is known as phonoreceptor. Then the receptors which is sensitive to smell. It is olfactory receptors. Then the receptors which is sensitive to heat or cold. It is thigmoreceptor. Then the receptors which is sensitive to taste. It is gustatory receptor. So, once again I will tell, the cells which is present in the sense organs, it is known as receptors. So, based on the 5 sense organs, 5 types of receptors are present there. The receptors which is responsible or which are sensitive to light, they are known as photoreceptor, it is present in eyes. Then the receptors which is sensitive to sound, they are known as the phonoreceptor, it is present in the ear. Then the receptors which is sensitive to smell, it is known as the olfactory receptor, it is present in the nose. Then the receptors which sensitive to taste, it is known as the gustatory receptor, it is present in the tongue. And the receptors which is sensitive to heat or cold, it is known as the thermoreceptor. So, it is present in the skin. So, the heat and cold is the thermoreceptor. Okay. So, I hope you have understood regarding this. What are receptor? What are the different types of receptor? It is important. Only the important areas I am focusing, and you have to go through well for all the topics, whatever I have covered in my video, so that it will be helpful for you to gain 100 marks in this particular subject. Okay. So, regarding the receptors already I have told. Now, we will move on to the human nervous system. So, I have told that two systems are there. One it is the nervous system and the other one it is the endocrine system. Human nervous system. So, one of the main organ which is present in the nervous system which helps for transferring the messages, it is known as neurons. So, the nervous system, one of the main nerve cell, or otherwise we will call it as the nerve cell. Nervous system is made up of the special cells. It is known as the neurons, otherwise it is known as the nerve cell. It contains three main parts. One, it is the dendrites. Second one, it is the cell body. Third one, it is what? The axon. So, these are the three main parts of nerve cell or neuron. The nerve cell or the neuron diagram is very important. You should be thorough with the diagram and all the parts. So, these three parts, that is the dendrites, then the cell body and the axon. If you want, I will just draw the diagram here. Rough diagram. Okay. So, this is a rough diagram regarding the nerve cell. This is the dendrite, the small nerve. It is known as the dendrite. This is the cell body and this is the axon. And this axon, it is covered by a protective sheath. It is known as the myelin sheath. It is known as the myelin sheath. And the last, it is the nerve ending. This is the nerve ending. So, one neuron is connected to another neuron, but there is a small tiny gap which helps to transfer the messages. So, with the help of the nerve cell only, the message it has been transferred throughout and it reaches the brain, and then correct information is passed, and then correct decision is taken by the brain, and then it will be passed to the motor muscles or the motor nerves to do the action. Okay. So, here the nerve cells or the neurons, they take the impulse or the messages, electrical impulse or the messages, and it will be passed from one neuron to the next neuron. But when there is a small tiny or a microscopic gap between the two adjacent neurons, and that two adjacent neurons, that small minute microscopic gap which is present between the two adjacent neurons, it is known as synapse. It is known as the synapse. And through that minute gap, the messages or the impulse it is being transmitted with the help of a chemical substance. It is known as neurotransmitter. This is very, very important for the exam. It is. So, what is synapse? Synapse is the microscopic gap between the two adjacent neurons. What is neurotransmitter? The passing of the electrical impulse from one neuron to the next neuron, it takes place with the help of a chemical substance known as the neurotransmitter. Organs of human nervous system. What are the main organs of human nervous system? It includes brain, spinal cord and nerves. So, it includes the brain, the spinal cord and the nerves. Okay. So, the main organs of the human nervous system, it is the brain, the spinal cord and the nerves. The nerves, it includes different types of nerves, that is the cranial nerve, the spinal nerve, the visceral nerve. Three types of nerves which is present there in this nervous system. And this brain and spinal cord, it comes under central nervous system. This too, it is known as the central nervous system, and this it undergoes the peripheral nervous system. Okay. So, the central nervous system, it includes the brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, it includes the different types of nerves. This peripheral nervous system, it is again classified into two, that is known as the voluntary nervous system, and the other one it is the voluntary nervous system, and the other one it is the autonomic nervous system. So, peripheral nervous system, it is again classified into two, voluntary nervous system and the autonomous nervous system. So here I am not going in detail regarding this, but you should know regarding what is meant by peripheral system, what is its classification, what are the organs which is involved in that, each systems in central nervous system, what it is involved, and peripheral nervous system, what it is involved. Okay, next another important topic which comes under this, it is regarding the reflex action. Automatically, we are not thinking about it. For example, if we are touching a hot object, then automatically we are removing our hand back, isn't it? So it is a sudden action. So the sudden action which takes place according to the stimulus, or the sudden response taken by the person in response to the stimulus. Okay, that is known as the reflex action. So here, based on this reflex action, more question comes mainly based on the reflex arc. How the path, that is the pathway. What is meant by reflex arc? The pathway through which the impulse travels. It is known as the reflex arc. So here when we are touching the hot object, the heat receptor, that is the receptors which is present there in our hand, it will work, isn't it? So they are the thermoreceptor. So that thermoreceptor will get activated and it pass the message, and then the message it will reach where? It will reach to the spinal cord. So there are certain actions where the brain will not take part in that particular reaction for taking the decision. It will reach up to only spinal cord. But reflex arc is very, very important. The reflex arc means the pathway of the traveling or the pathway of the impulse, electrical impulse. It is known as the reflex arc. So, simple example already I have told, when we touch a hot object, we are removing the hand back, isn't it? So, here the thermoreceptors will get activated. So, it passes the impulse to the sensory neurons which is present there in the skin, and then from the sensory neurons it will be the message or the impulse, it will be transmitted or passed to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, the messages it will be transmitted to the effectors. So, before reaching the effectors, what type of nerves are present there? They are the motor nerves. So, the motor nerves, it will pass the message to the effectors. Effectors means the muscles which is present there in the arm, and we will take the response that of removing the hand back. So, it is a fraction of a second is needed to do that particular action. So, it takes place at a much faster rate, this reflex action, without thinking. But there are certain situations where the actions we have to think and do it. Then at that time, the brain will come into action. So, such type of reflexes, it is known as the cerebral reflexes. Otherwise, these type of reflexes, it is known as the spinal reflexes, because only spinal cord is involved in that for doing that particular action. Okay, so cerebral reflexes means in which brain is involved. That is, if you have automatically, suddenly if you have taken a vessel or a bowl, but the content which is present in the bowl is very hot, but you cannot drop it. Why? Because if you drop it, that bowl will break. So, at that time, the brain should give a correct message to the effectors to keep that particular bowl on the table. So, here comes the action of the brain. So, such type of reflexes, it is known as cerebral reflexes. Okay. So, I hope you have understood the particular topic, reflex action, reflex arc, what is meant by spinal reflex, and the other one, the cerebral reflex. Okay. Now, we will move on to the next topic regarding the structure of the brain. So, now we will move on to the central nervous system, which includes the brain and the spinal cord. Here, we should know the diagram of brain. It is very important. The diagram, it should be thorough and all the parts. So, the brain is divided into three parts. So, the brain is divided into three parts. One, it is the forebrain. Second one, it is the midbrain. And third one, it is the hindbrain. So, three parts are there. The forebrain, it includes the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the main thinking part of the brain. All the thinking process takes place in cerebrum. Midbrain does not have any particular part. That is, it does not have any classification. So, here all the reflex action is controlled by the midbrain. And third one, that is the hindbrain, it includes the pons, cerebellum, and medulla, that is medulla oblongata and medulla. So, these are the three main parts which is involved in the hindbrain. So, pons, it is responsible for the respiration process, cerebellum for the posture and balance of the body, and medulla, it is involving all the involuntary actions. Involuntary actions means which we cannot control it. That is, it is taking place inside our body. That is the heartbeat, the digestion process, then the functioning of the excretory system, the functioning of the kidney. We are not aware of it. They all are working inside our body, isn't it? So, all these are controlled by medulla oblongata, all the involuntary actions. Cerebellum controls the posture and balance of the body. And pons, it is responsible for the respiratory system. Okay, respiration. Here, midbrain, it controls the reflex action. It does not have any particular bifurcation or classification. Forebrain, it includes cerebrum. It is the main thinking part of the brain. Part is included in the central nervous system. That is the spinal cord. So, this spinal cord, it is extended from the medulla and it is passing through the middle portion of the vertebral column. Inside it is a cylindrical shape like structure and it is passing through the vertebral column. The spinal cord is 31 pairs of nerves are arising from the spinal cord system, which is present in the control and coordination of animals. That is the endocrine system. So, this endocrine system, in the endocrine system, mainly hormones are responsible for working of the glands. This endocrine system, it is also known as the hormonal system. It secretes the hormones. They are the chemical substances or they are known as the chemical messengers. Okay, so it is secreted by which glands? Endocrine gland. Two types of glands are there. One it is the endocrine gland and the other one it is the exocrine glands. So, endocrine gland means they are ductless glands. Ductless glands means the secretions of these glands, it will be directly going through the bloodstream and then it will be reaching the target site. Whereas exocrine glands means the glands which are having duct. Simple example, salivary gland. Simple example is salivary gland because the saliva is produced in the salivary duct. Pancreatic juice, that is the pancreatic duct. Okay. Similarly, then sperm is produced in the sperm duct. Ova is produced in the oviduct. So, all these are having duct. So, they comes under what type of glands? They are exocrine glands. But there is an exception that certain glands act as both exocrine and endocrine glands. Already I have certain glands which act as both endocrine and exocrine glands. Examples are pancreas, the testis and the ovary. So, the pancreas, it acts as endocrine glands by producing the hormone insulin. And it acts as exocrine glands by producing the pancreatic juice in the pancreatic duct. Whereas, the testis, it acts as exocrine glands. It acts as exocrine glands by producing the sperms in the sperm duct and it produces the hormone testosterone and it acts as endocrine gland. Okay. Next one, it is the ovary. Ovary, it acts as exocrine glands by producing the ova in the oviduct. Okay. And similarly, it acts as endocrine glands by producing the hormone known as progesterone and estrogen. Okay. So, I hope you have understood regarding how these three glands act both as endocrine and exocrine glands. Now, we will see regarding some of the examples of endocrine glands. So, all the names or names of the endocrine glands, along with their hormones and its function. It is very, very important. Always question comes. It may come for 3-mark question or 5-mark question for the board exam. So, you should be thorough with that, the endocrine system. Okay. So, the which is present, the first one is the hypothalamus, which produces the hormone, inhibitory hormone, and it is present in brain. Second one, it is the pituitary gland. It also present just below the brain and many hormones it produces. Among that, one of the main hormone which produces it is growth hormone. So, it helps in growing. Sometimes if this particular hormone is more, then it results in a condition known as gigantism, and if it is deficient, it results in a condition known as dwarfism. Okay. So, that is under pituitary gland. The third one, it is the thyroid gland. Third one, it is thyroid gland. It produces the hormone thyroxine. So, the deficiency of this thyroxine hormone results in a condition known as goiter. Then, fourth one, it is the parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland. So, it is the thyroid gland. It is present in this windpipe, on topmost part of the windpipe. And parathyroid gland is also present there. And the main hormone produced by the parathyroid gland, it is the parathormone. It helps in regulating the calcium and phosphate levels in the blood. Fifth one, it is the gland. So, fifth one, it is the thymus gland. Fifth one, thymus gland. It produces the hormone, thymus hormone, and it helps in maintaining the immune system of the body. Sixth gland, it is the pancreas. It produces the hormone insulin. It regulates the blood sugar level. Seventh one is the adrenaline. Seventh gland, it is the adrenal gland. It produces the hormone adrenaline and it regulates the heart rate, breathing rate, then blood pressure and carbohydrate metabolism. So, all these are regulated by this adrenal. The testis. Eighth one is the testis. So, it produces the hormone testosterone and it regulates all the secondary sexual characters which is present in the males. Then, it produces the hormone progesterone and estrogen. This also regulates all the secondary sexual characters in females. Okay, so total 9 endocrine glands are there for you to study. You should know each gland, its position, its hormone, what hormone is produced, and its function. Once again, I'll repeat. Hypothalamus, it is present in brain. It produces the hormone, inhibitory hormone. Then, pituitary gland, it is present just below the brain. It produces the hormone, growth hormone. Thyroid gland, it is present in the windpipe, on topmost part of the windpipe. Then, it produces the hormone, thyroxine hormone. Then, parathyroid gland is also present in the thyroid gland. And then, it produces the hormone parathormone. It regulates the calcium and phosphate levels in blood. Then, fifth one, it is the thymus gland. It produces the hormone thymus hormone and it maintains the immune system of the body. Then sixth one, it is the pancreas. It produces the hormone insulin which regulates the blood sugar level. Seventh one, it is the adrenal gland which produces the hormone adrenaline and then it regulates the breathing rate, heart rate, then blood pressure and the carbohydrate metabolism. Eighth one, it is the testis. It produces the hormone testosterone and it regulates the secondary sexual characters in males. Then ninth one, it is the ovary. It produces the hormone estrogen and progesterone. It regulates the secondary sexual characters in females. So, last topic, it is regarding the feedback mechanism which is already present in our body. It helps to control the production of the hormones by each gland. Hormones secreted by each gland, it is controlled by the feedback mechanism which is present or which is inbuilt in our body. So, it helps to control each and every thing, that is each and every hormones, how much it should be produced and where it should be sent. All these are controlled by the feedback mechanism which is already inbuilt in our body. So, I hope you have understood this particular chapter. All the important areas only I have covered in this chapter. The control and coordination, how it takes place in plants and how it takes place in animals. So, you have to go through all the areas, whatever I have discussed in this video. I hope all have understood. So, I hope you will be able to do the exam well. If you watch this video, it will be helpful for you to get all the important areas needed for the board exam. So, thank you children.